Ciao, benvenuto, welcome. Today we're going to talk about the best 10 places to visit in Italy. Let's start from the north, Lake Como, or in Italia, Lago di Como. Como as a city is absolutely beautiful and so pretty. So if you go to Lake Como, I suggest you to spend a little bit of time even in the city because it's really such a great place. And you will see there is a lot of history. The view is stunning and I really love it. From Como, the next stop cannot be just Como. You have to visit a little bit of the lake around. So from Como, go to Bellagio. Bellagio is my favorite spot. I used to spend there sometimes when I was working in that area. It's beautiful. So many nice restaurants. The color of the buildings, they melt together with the landscape, with all the lake. It's absolutely beautiful, delightful place. From Bellagio, I would suggest get a ferry or drive as well, but it's better, the view with the ferry to Varenna. You don't have to spend so much time in Varenna. It's enough for a few hours. It's a tiny fisherman town, but it's such a gem. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And maybe you can stop for a coffee, just a little walk around, or maybe a classic Aperol Spritz on one of those terraces, beautiful on top of the lake. Another place I would visit while I'm on Lake Como is for sure Menaggio. That is a much bigger town, but such a great feeling, nice people, great vibe. You can maybe spend the night there, and the day after you can travel to our second city, Milano. Milano is my city. I grew up there, I was born there, so my heart is there. Milano is the capital of fashion, business, so it's a little different from many other places that you can visit in Italy, but I think it's worth it to see how is the New York City, if you allow me, of Italy. But there is a lot of history as well, don't make me wrong. The first place you have to see is the Duomo. It's Piazza Duomo is the main plaza with this amazing Gothic cathedral that it took 600 years to finish to build. Consider that the Duomo is the third biggest cathedral in the world. So I would suggest to take your time, visit inside, see those beautiful windows with all the lights that come in different hours of the day. A lot of colors. There are paintings on any window. Columns so big that really you will feel like super tiny. And the feeling inside is absolutely awesome. If you have enough time, I would suggest go on the roof. First, you have an amazing view on the plaza, and it's kind of it's breathtaking. But second, you can enjoy very close the 3,400 statues on top of the building. One for all the statue, you can see close by the Madonnina. That is a statue on top of the Duomo, is covered in gold and is the symbol of Milano. When you finish your visit to the cathedral, you can just walk and go shopping on Galleria Vittorio Emanuele. Is the gallery just really on the right side of the Duomo? It's the most historical gallery that we have in Milano. Is part of the culture here. Everybody goes for a walk once in a while in Galleria. You can find there restaurants, bars. Remember, bars are cafeteria, but you can find a bar that is unique. That is the Camparino. That is the bar where Campari, that is one of the most famous Italian liqueur, was invented. So there you have to try or a classic Campari and soda, or an Americano, or a classic Negroni. All of them, of course, made with Campari. If you are in the center of Galleria, pay attention. On the floor in the middle, you will find a little bull is a painting, and they say that is luck. Just tap and turn on his parts, if you know what I mean. In the end of the Galleria, uh, it will welcome you the statue of Leonardo da Vinci and his museum. If you have time, I would say stop by because it's awesome. And just right behind his statue, you can find La Scala, Teatro La Scala. Teatro La Scala is one of the most famous theater for one of the best acoustic in the world. In Milano, there are so many places that you can visit. I will start with the Castello Sforzesco and Pinacoteca di Brera to see great paintings. But one of the things that you must see is the Last Supper. Please reserve the ticket as soon as possible. As soon as you book the flight, reserve the ticket as well, because there are only a few tickets per day, just because it's very delicate, the painting, and the human breath would ruin it. So only a few people per day are allowed. And did you know about the story about the Last Supper? Is awesome. During World War II, the whole building was bombarded and was totally destroyed. And just because of luck, that piece of wall was the only wall left. And it's awesome to think about that was exposed to the element and it was the only part left of that building. And I think it's one of a lifetime experience, and if you can, do it. And from my favorite city, let's move to one of the most unique in the world, Venezia. I'm sure at least once in your life you saw a picture of the Canal Grande, Piazza San Marco under the water, and all the gondolas that they go all over around the city. So take your time and visit Venice. I would suggest to stay at least one whole day in Venice because you have to sit in the morning, you have to enjoy the night, the lights, going to the Canal Grande, uh, rent a gondola for a few hours and just enjoy the vibe of a city that lives underwater for the majority. And stop for shopping at Rialto Market. That is mandatory. Please, one little suggestion. Please, don't have dinner in Piazza San Marco. And this is a rule of thumb for any major city in Italy. Don't stop in front of a major attraction because usually it's a touristic place. So prices are higher and the food is not our standard, okay? And if you have a chance, don't forget to visit Murano and Burano. There are two islands very close to Venice. They're still in the same archipelagos. And Murano is known for handcraft stunning pieces of glass. And you have a beautiful museum about the whole history of handmade glasses. And Burano is a quiet island with smaller canals, but such a bright painted houses all over around. I think it's is worth it to spend few hours of your time to Burano as well. From Venezia, we're going on the other side of Italy, so we move from east to west, and we go to the Cinque Terre. I could definitely spend hours to speak about all the 5 different towns they're composing the Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre in Italian means 5 lands. And these 5 towns, they are Monterosso, Vernazza, Corniglia, Manarola, and Riomaggiore, are one more beautiful than the other. My suggestion is forget the car. If you can go by train between one town to the other, or even better, rent a boat and visit all the 5 towns through the water, because what you can see from the water in Liguria in general, Liguria is the region where the Cinque Terre are, but in general, Liguria is so beautiful seen from the water. So my suggestion is, if you can, rent a boat at least for one of the main places. My favorite is Vernazza, but it's my personal favorite. You absolutely all of them are outstanding, except it's still beautiful Cornelia as well, but it's the only one that does is not reachable by boat. It's on top of the mountain. So imagine this beautiful view of all these houses, one on top of the other, like terraces and different colors. So imagine what can be during the sunset on the sunrise. Take your time, enjoy the towns, and eat the focaccia. That is one of the local most delicious kind of bread. And the pesto alla genovese di Liguria is the area you have to enjoy that too. From the Cinque Terre, let's move to the capital of the Renaissance, Florence, Firenze. Florence has hundreds of things to do, but if you have only a couple of days, you must visit Uffizi Gallery, of course, the Duomo, the frescoes, and you can't miss the David di Michelangelo. You find the original work of Michelangelo in the Galleria of Accademia, Galleria dell'Accademia, and the one you see outside is a copy. The one that is in Piazza della Signoria is a copy. Absolutely outstanding, but is not the original. So just make sure that you go to the Galleria dell'Accademia to see the original one. And of course, enjoy a beautiful sunset on Ponte Vecchio and maybe having dinner around there. It's an experience that you should have. Just a little curiosity. People in Florence often they have a very unique accent. They don't pronounce the letter C. So if they sound weird to you, ask them to speak slowly because they're complicated. Let's say in Italian we say Coca-Cola like you say in the United States, but in Florence they say Coca-Cola. So if for any reason you feel that you don't understand them, no worries. It's just a joke. Like, really, all over Italy, we have so many different accents. So we are now ready to travel to the next spot that is an agriturismo in Tuscany. You can choose between several hills and several little towns, and you must have this experience that is the essential Italian experience. So picture yourself on these amazing hills with vineyards everywhere, lands, and so many fields, different colors. And with this scenario, you're sitting in a nice old farm and you're eating with the farmer and you're drinking the classic Chianti or Sangiovese, eating a delicious bistecca alla Fiorentina that is almost an inch or even more thick. Places and hills to go, there are several. My suggestion are Montalcino, Montepulciano, San Gimignano. In all these places, you often can learn how they produce wine, the history behind the wine. If you go to Montepulciano, you have the Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. If you go to Montalcino, the Brunello. My suggestion is to let you go and enjoy everything that this land has to give you, except one little thing. Don't eat the classic Tuscan bread because it's with no salt. Honestly, don't ask me why, but it's the only bread that I don't eat, and it's weird. It's something that is local. It's something that only in the area of Tuscany do. Of course, they have the classic Italian bread, so no worries. They can give you the regular bread, but be careful. Don't eat the bread with no salt. Honestly, it's not really that good. From the beautiful Tuscany in 1 hour and a half by train, or more or less the same time by car, it depends where you are, you can arrive in Rome. Okay, Rome wasn't built in a day, so you cannot visit in a single day. You need to give to yourself at least 2 days to see the bare minimum of this 2000 and more years old city. So, of course, you have to pay a visit to the Coliseum, Colosseo in Italian. So many other places. I can tell you Pantheon, I can tell you the Palatino, the Piazza di Spagna. I know you call it Spanish Steps, but we call it Piazza di Spagna. And of course, the Trevi Fountain, La Fontana di Trevi. Don't forget to throw a coin there. That means you're going to go back to Rome one day. And as long as you're in Rome, you have to visit Vatican City. That is actually the smallest country in the world that is inside Rome. In the Vatican City, you should, in my opinion, visit the Vatican Museum. That it would take for sure half, if not more, of your day. So plan it in advance and try to buy the ticket in advance so you will cut all the lines. And in there, of course, the Sistine Chapel, Cappella Sistina. And before leaving Rome, don't forget to stop by at Trastevere. That is a nice neighborhood close to downtown. Enjoy there a dinner, just go for a walk. The vibe is unique, is really one of the best neighborhood of the city, in my opinion. From Rome, let's get a train and go to Naples. So now we are in Napoli. Napoli is a unique city, such a beauty with such a complicated history behind. So, for sure, you want to visit the center, the historical part that is being considered World Heritage from UNESCO, and the Museo Archeologico Nazionale. It's the history of Greco-Roman, so many artifacts there. The Certosa, and of course Piazza del Popolo, that is one of the biggest plaza in the world. Naples has really a lot to offer, but there is one thing that is totally different from the others. Naples has a very big volcano, really, really close, that is Vesuvius. That volcano erupted several times during the ages, and you can find in this tour that I'm talking about, that is the underground tour of Naples, you can find layers of the different cities, one on top of the other. So you have the 2000 years old city with the Roman Empire, and you have other pieces and layers that you can recognize of the city during the medieval period, and you just dig again and you find another layer that is more contemporary, and so on. So I guarantee you is a unique tour, and I think if you go to Naples is one of those things that you really must do. Hopefully you have few days to visit this beautiful city, but if you cannot, don't forget to stop and eat the real pizza. Not real. In Italy, all the pizza is real. But the one that is the most famous, the margherita pizza, the one that has been invented in Naples, and the one that got the name from the Queen of Naples. From Naples, you have two options. One is going to Pompeii, and the other one is going to Amalfi Coast. My suggestion is to stop to Pompeii as a first and visit this archaeological site that is basically a whole town that has been frozen in time during the eruption in 79 AD of the Mount Vesuvio. You can still see the whole city like it was during the Roman Empire, because the eruption, all the ashes, they cover the whole town. So you still see how it was by the time. I think it's a unique experience, and is worth it to spend part of your trip to understand what was the Roman Empire and to see it immediately, like firsthand. From Naples itself or from Pompeii, they're really close by. Now is the time that you can travel to the Amalfi Coast. You can have a 1 day tour from Naples. During the summer, you can get a ferry and going to Positano or Amalfi and enjoy your day there and come back to Naples during the night. During the winter, you have to go by bus. There are no option by ferry. You can spend the whole day there or you can spend a night there, but don't go by car. You won't find a parking lot, and it's really complicated to really move on those narrow streets. The two most famous places in Amalfi Coast or Costiera Amalfitana are for sure Amalfi and Positano, but I would suggest to go to visit the island of Capri with Capri and Anna Capri. There are really, really nice places as well. This area is beautiful all year round, but my suggestion is going, if you can, during spring, early summer, or early fall. Those are the moments with less tourists, and you have the time to enjoy those towns better. And especially during the summer or late spring, I suggest a little tour of the Grotta dello Smeraldo. Is a day tour only by boat. Don't forget to taste the amazing limoncello, a local famous liqueur made with lemons. You taste it once, you will never forget it. If you arrive at this point, I have a bonus for you, but please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing, and leave a comment for any kind of video you like about Italy, or what would you like I would tell you about Italian culture and maybe Italian cuisine or maybe Italian wine. Let me know, please, comment below. So my last place that I suggest in this only 10, and I told you at the beginning, as being very complicated to narrow down only to 10. So I really want to give a special position to my last place, because it's not a town, it's not a city, but it is a whole region and is a whole island, that is Sicily. Sicily needs by itself, I would say, almost a week to visit in a nice way. There are great cities like Palermo, Messina, Catania, Taormina, Agrigento, Mount Etna, the Valle dei Templi. There's so many beautiful places in Sicily that honestly I couldn't just leave it out. I know I wanted to give you a simple tour for like 10 days, 2 weeks, but honestly, if you have time, stay a little longer, just get 4 or 5 days extra and visit Sicily and the beauty of this awesome land. Please don't forget, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and ask me whatever you want to know about Italy or Italian culture. Grazie for now. Buonanotte.